Bang, bang. Let go. The Papah Trail. Let's go. 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 Yeah. 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 For the love of money, niggas come around. For the love of money, some stay around. For the love of money, what a nigga will do. For the love of the money, yeah. I gotta shake it, 12 at night to 5 in the morning. They don't give a fuck, dog. If it's for the money, niggas gon' bark and they bite like a motherfucking dog. Gotta party like a motherfucking dog. For that cat, I am gon' roof and I'm barking at that cat, and I am gon' take the roof off when I'm riding that ride. Real leaning to the left, but I'm steady on the only right. I'm swerving with a purpose, A nigga been sipping on that purple. A nigga been cheaping on that purple. Cause I'm getting money. I'm getting money. Cause I'm getting money. And I'm living all the way to the motherfucking bank. And I'm telling her, tell me later. And she thinking what I'm thinking. Damn, me getting money. I walk about the bank and I stuck up in the wheel. Headed to my next big destination. Somewhere where I'm gonna be faded. Sipping on a motherfucking Molotov. Feet in the fucking sand. Looking like a motherfucking distant fucking land myself. Wherever I land, I must be fly myself.
Mounting backlash from within its own party. And it comes after the president's social media account posted a video depicting former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. Tonight, the White House is dealing with some Tonight, the White House is dealing with something unusual, almost unheard of. Mounting backlash from within its own party. And it comes after the president's social media account posted a video depicting former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as apes. Now, we should note, balance of power is not showing the racist video in question here as to not amplify it, but the bipartisan response to it has been notable and newsworthy, especially from within the GOP. The only black Republican in the U.S. Senate, Tim Scott, a close ally of the president, on social media, quote, praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it, unquote. And it was removed about 12 hours after it was posted, but not before the White House press secretary called the mounting backlash fake outrage. The White House then said Trump had not seen the video at all and that it was posted to his account late at night by a White House staffer. The Republican criticism, though, has not stopped. Senator Roger Wicker, chair of the Armed Services Committee, writing, "This is totally unacceptable. The president should take it down and apologize." Senator Katie Britt adding, "This is not who we are as a nation." Congressman Chairman French Hill chairs the House Financial Services Committee. "Racism and dehumanizing rhetoric have no place in our country." Congressman Mike Lawler of New York, "The president's post is wrong and incredibly offensive." He too calling for an apology. And I could keep reading. Many of these were posted after the initial post was deleted. Joining us now in our Washington bureau is Bloomberg's Mario Parker. Mario, this is just a snapshot. We've got a lot more here. This kind of rebuke of President Trump from his own party is extraordinary.
It definitely is extraordinary, Joe. It's something that we haven't seen over the past year. And one way, the post itself was extraordinary, right? In some regards, perhaps this was a red line for many in the president's party. We've seen the president, I've covered him for almost a decade.
Bitcoin just lost half of its value, 50% gone. From $126,000 to $60,000 in less than 4 months. Yesterday was the worst single day since FTX collapsed. Hundreds of thousands of traders have been liquidated during this sell-off, and the Fear and Greed Index just hit 11. But here's the thing nobody is telling you right now. While retail was getting slaughtered, the biggest wallets in crypto were doing the exact opposite. Guys, let's talk about it. And again, remember, nothing in this video is financial advice. It's for educational purposes only. All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and look at the numbers because they are brutal. Bitcoin hit a low of $60,062 yesterday. That's a 50% drawdown from the October all-time high of $126,000. To put that in dollar terms, the crypto market has lost over $2 trillion in total market cap since the start of the year. This week alone, Bitcoin dropped roughly 30%, over $500 billion in Bitcoin market cap, wiped out in 7 days. Thursday was the worst single day decline since November 8th, 2022, the day FTX imploded, more than 10% in 24 hours. And it wasn't just Bitcoin. Ethereum dropped 33% this week. Solana hit $80, a 2-year low, down 40%. XRP got absolutely demolished, down over 20% in a single day. The iShares Bitcoin Trust, ticker IBIT from BlackRock, just crushed its all-time daily volume record with roughly $10 billion in shares traded yesterday. And its price dropped 13% on that day. So yeah, guys, it has been a week. Let's just say that. Now, here's what I want you to understand. This didn't happen because of one thing. This was a perfect storm of like 5 things all hitting the same exact time. Okay, so let's talk about them. Factor 1, the Warsh nomination. President Trump nominated Kevin Warsh as the next Fed chair on January 30th. Warsh is seen as a hawk, someone who favors higher rates. The moment he was announced, the dollar surged, everything priced in cheap money, crypto, gold, silver, got repriced instantly. I made a show on Kevin Warsh. Who is Kevin Warsh? See that in the link below, or we'll leave a link at the end of the video. Factor 2, gold and silver imploded. Gold went from an all-time high of $5,600 to under $4,800 in 2 days. Silver had its worst day since 1980. So when so-called safe havens crater like that, it creates a margin call cascade across all risk assets. Factor 3, big tech earnings spooked the market. Microsoft reported strong numbers, but the stock crashed 10% because they're spending $37.5 billion on AI infrastructure. Alphabet, the company that owns Google and YouTube, etc., they just announced a $185 billion capex in 2026. Wall Street started asking, when does all of this AI spending actually pay off? Factor 4, the job market is cracking. Job openings dropped to 6.5 million, the lowest since September 2020. The ratio of job openings to unemployment workers fell below 1-to-1 for the first time in years. That's a recession signal. Factor 5, the software sell-off. We covered this in a video recently as well. Palantir's CEO said AI could make SaaS companies irrelevant. $285 billion got wiped from the software stocks in one day. The iShares software ETF is down nearly 24% year to date. And because software stocks have been moving in lockstep with Bitcoin lately, that selling pressure bled straight into crypto. So you take all 5 of those together: hawkish Fed, safe haven collapse, tech earnings fear, weakening jobs, software crash, and you get what we just lived through, the largest Bitcoin drawdown since FTX. Okay, so now here's where it gets really ugly, because the macro stuff was just a spark. What turned this into a bloodbath was leverage. Over $2 billion in leverage positions were
were taken out while he was fighting. Hey, Sovereign Wealth Builders, Simon Dixon here, and welcome to another episode of Simon Dixon Hard Talk. It has been an absolutely wild week. I can't even put the days together with the news flow that is happening right now. And so I was up pretty much every single night doing interviews. Now that the Epstein files have pretty much confirmed everything that we've been teaching, or I've been sharing, or I've been using as a follow the money strategy in order to project macro geopolitics and understand what the technology that is being built right now. And it's really, an emotional roller coaster at the moment. And so what we're going to dive into is, now that we know what has been released in the Epstein files, and now that we know all the things that I would have been real or called a conspiracy theorist for have been confirmed that that's how power works, I want to make sure that we deconstruct everything on the Bitcoin side, on the macro side, and on the geopolitical side. And I'll also be doing that by playing a couple of interviews that I've done this week and deconstructing it and breaking it down. Right. So firstly, for those of you that didn't leverage your Bitcoin, because I was screaming for as long as I could that at some point, the price of Bitcoin, now that the financial industrial complex has created the derivative industrial complex around Bitcoin, they want to steal your Bitcoin. And you need to look back at every single video if you want, because I was screaming out. And I remember when I was debating people and they were saying, oh, the financial institutions, it's a mature asset now. You know, the OG Bitcoiners, they need to step aside. And the adults are taking over now. And it's just going to be a steady, mature asset. And I was like, The financial industrial complex are the real market manipulators. Now the real money comes to steal your Bitcoin. And all you need to do is not fall for their tricks. And so if you were listening to those people, they'd be like, well, this is a mature asset right now. Why don't you custody your asset with Coinbase? It's a public company. It's very reputable. Or why don't you screw Bitcoin? Why don't you just buy a Bitcoin ETF instead? And why don't you take out some fiat currency loan against your Bitcoin? It's JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon's here. He's very reputable. And Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan, it's regulated by the Federal Reserve and the regulators. You know, the same Federal Reserve that's about to be regime changed, and they're about to put a Jeffrey Epstein mentioned Fed chair in. And you know, the same SEC that was headed up by Gary Gensler, who was also communicating with Jeffrey Epstein, that was appointed by the same Trump, that was also deeply involved in history with Jeffrey Epstein. You know, these reputable people. And yes, that JP Morgan, the one that settled $285 million for its money laundering activities for Jeffrey Epstein. Why don't we trust them? And then we can borrow against our Bitcoin, and we can get some fiat currency, and they can steal it because they're good players, because they're the adults that are taking over. They're the ones that created this crash. And I said, I've seen my Bitcoin crash from $30 to $3. I've seen my Bitcoin crash from $20,000 to $3,000. I've seen my Bitcoin crash from $70,000 to $15,000. And now everybody is experiencing, depending on how new they are, $125,000 Bitcoin crash to about $65,000. And if you're new to this, it can be a little bit scary. But if you have psychologically learned how to price your value in Bitcoin and in gold, then you're saying, hell yeah, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. I've been given some 50% on sale Bitcoin that I get to accumulate this month. Thank you, financial institutions. While Michael Saylor is loading up with debt and centralizing as much Bitcoin as possible, and everybody is bowing down to Michael Saylor, and then everyone's copying his business model because the other person mentioned in the Epstein files, Howard Lutnick, who lied about the fact that he was only disgusted by Jeffrey Epstein. And him and his wife went round the house to his neighbor and said, ew, I'm getting out of here, while simultaneously arranging different meetings and talking about how they wanted to bring their children over to meet Jeffrey Epstein. All in the files. And what did Howard Lutnick do? Howard Lutnick was setting up all these Bitcoin treasury companies, going around to all the different people, like old school Bitcoiners, like Adam Back, who also was allegedly organizing a meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. And, of course, X was filled with people that were saying, what happened to my Bitcoin that I had at Strike and that I had a loan against it? And what happened to the share price of all those Bitcoin treasury companies that now are between me and my Bitcoin? I don't have any Bitcoin. I've got all this fiat currency that's worth 95% less than what I bought it for. I've got some fiat currency debt and no Bitcoin. What happened to the Bitcoin? They took your Bitcoin because that's what they do. And of course, everyone else that had it in self-custody was saying, chill. And they were busting the people that were the bad actors that were lying about their interactions with Jeffrey Epstein. And they were getting this opportunity to own more Bitcoin and become more sovereign. While the rest of the world was saying Jeffrey Epstein created Bitcoin.
Maybe Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. In the Epstein files, there's a receipt from YouTube where his username is Littlest Jeff 1. Hello, Littlest Jeff 1. Wait, Littlest Jeff 1. There was a charge in May 2019, but he died in August. Wait, Chapter 5, Season 1. Wait, that was recent. Epstein's Fortnite account is active in Israel? No. Fortnite tracker. We have, all right, gentlemen, we have the Fortnite account right now. Let's pull it up. The profile has just been made private. Wait a minute. Can I look at this on Wayback Machine? It has not archived that URL. Epstein just privated his account. I have screenshots of his stats confirming he's alive. Charge for $25 for V-Bucks on Fortnite. And this was on May 7th, 2019. And this is, again, keep in mind, justice.gov. This is the government website for Jeffrey Epstein right here. And this is literally Jeff with jeevacation@gmail.com. It could be but how could it be a troll if they did it so far in advance? The account isn't brand new. It was discovered. My guy faked his death and immediately started playing Fortnite. Fortnite Chapter 1, Season 10 ran from August 1st to October 2019. Crazy. Get the screenshot of him playing Season 6 before it's too late. Where are the other screenshots of this? I want to see it. It says I can't edit the post. Where's the imager link? Matches. So he and wait, this is Season 4, and he had an 8% win rate. Look at Chapter 3, Season 17, 17% win rate. He has kids playing for him. He's in Tel Aviv playing Fortnite. This could be wait, this is his WoW account? Wait a minute.
Context.
This is the Department of Justice. Jeffrey Epstein played WoW, and he was a wrath baby. This was right before Cataclysm. Wait a minute. No. He was Horde? I knew it, guys. I knew it all along. He has heirlooms? Yes, he has heirlooms, which means that this is an alt. This is an alt character. This is Epstein, isn't it? Dude, who is this guy? Someone posted the photo without the beard on your Discord. Guys, okay, I'm going to save this photo, though. So which one is better? Okay, that's a better photo. And why does it not? What the fuck? Why is it not? Why is it doing this? Like, what the fuck? The fuck? The fuck? Guys, are they in? Yeah, I'm really.
Viral AI images, alleged drone footage, and resurfaced 4chan posts have reignited conspiracy theories, claiming Jeffrey Epstein could still be alive after a fresh DOJ document release. fresh waves of conspiracy chatter are exploding online after the Justice Department released the final tranche of documents tied to Jeffrey Epstein. And now, viral posts are claiming the disgraced financier may still be alive. The speculation is being fueled by unverified social media profiles pointing to DOJ library files, including record number EFTA 00133623, even though official findings state Epstein was found hanging in his jail cell in August 2019, and authorities ruled his death a suicide. Adding fuel to the fire, a photo allegedly showing Epstein alive has gone viral across platforms. The image features a man in dark sunglasses with long hair and a beard, captured in side profile, and users have flooded comment sections asking whether the man could really be Epstein. One post boldly claimed, "This is the full picture of Epstein. He's in Israel," sparking another surge of debate despite no verified proof. The viral image is just one of several circulating theories, with some online users even comparing the nose and ears from Epstein's autopsy photos to older pictures in an attempt to argue the body was not his. The renewed speculation comes as millions of pages of Justice Department material surface publicly, including subpoena records connected to a mysterious 4chan post that appeared shortly before news of Epstein's death broke. That post alleged unusual activity inside the prison, and for years has been shared online as supposed evidence that Epstein was secretly removed alive. Now, some social media accounts claim the newly released records point to Roberto Grijalva, a lieutenant at the prison at the time, as being linked to the post, though those claims remain unverified. Another viral angle pushing the conspiracy wave involves alleged private drone footage said to show Epstein on his private island after 2019. No credible confirmation of such footage has been provided, but the claims continue spreading rapidly across online forums and video platforms. Fact checks are also beginning to push back against the viral narrative. Analysts examining the circulating image say that while the man may resemble Epstein if he had grown out his hair and beard, the photo itself does not appear authentic. One user on X claimed the image was AI generated using Gemini software and shared a version with an alleged watermark visible in the corner, writing, "This picture going around is fake and AI created, and trying to pull off Epstein is walking around alive and well in Tel Aviv using AI makes every single one of you look moronic." Despite the mounting online theories, authorities have not changed their official stance on Epstein's death. The current wave of speculation shows how new document releases can quickly reignite old conspiracies, with viral images, unverified claims, and recycled posts blending together, creating a storm of headlines even as investigators' original findings remain unchanged.
Welcome back to Takeout. There's been some serious criticism on how the Department of Justice, that's putting it mildly, has so far handled the Epstein files. On Monday, members of Congress, we just learned late this afternoon, will be able to begin reviewing unredacted versions. Joins me now. So fill in the blanks here. What are they going to see and in what form? And can they take it away? Or do they have to take notes? How is it going to help play
You
out?
go into a secure room at the Department of Justice. They call it their reading room, and you have access to all of the files compiled and held by the Department of Justice.
Released and unreleased. Is that correct?
That's key. The unreleased ones are viewable. They can look at the released ones on their phones right now if they wanted to, but they get access to the ones that have been either redacted or just have been kept out of view altogether. Now, asking a member of Congress to go into a room and look at 3 million pages of records is an ambitious task, because if you had a whole team of people would take you many weeks to go through 3 million pages. We know this from experience because we've had a team of people and we're still going. But they have that access. This is not a courtesy by the Department of Justice. This is in the law.
Right. And let me ask this, just thinking through this in a practical way. I'm a member of Congress. I'm not, but let's imagine for the sake of argument that I am. And I go in and I say, I want this and that and this. I come in with a specific list.
I think there's going to be a support provided to members of Congress, if for no other reason, because you have to secure a secure space and make sure that things stay where they are and are where they are and stay organized where they are. But this also can be a very digital enterprise too. But the functioning of this website where they have the 3 million pages that are current has been an imperfect operation, to put it charitably. We learned today the Department of Justice has pulled down more than 9,500 pages of those records because either things were redacted that shouldn't have been or things that should have been redacted weren't. And this is going to be a process that plays over the course of weeks and months. What's just in public view now?
Another practical question comes to my mind. Can a member of Congress send a designated staffer to the Department of Justice to do this work?
I'll look into that. I'll tell you, I don't think the law specifies designees, but with the Department of Justice and the tonnage they're working with, they may have some flexibility built in.
Scott McFarland, thank you. You know, we sometimes think of this as an apartment. You're going to go out through a dramatic exit to the back door, so please enjoy yourself.
I'm going to make a very dramatic exit.
Very dramatic.
You say that. Yeah. Yes.
Who lots of Mitchell Island. I mean, multiple emails from
CBS News. Newly released Department of Humans show that investigators reviewing surveillance footage from the night of Jeffrey Epstein's death observed an orange-colored shape. I don't know about you, but orange-colored shapes move around my house all the time. An orange-colored shape was moving up the staircase towards the isolated, locked tier where Jeffrey Epstein's cell was located at approximately 10:39 p.m. on August 9th, 2019. That entry in an observation log of the video from the Metropolitan Correctional Center appears to suggest something previously unreported by authorities. A flash of orange looks to be going up the L-tier stairs. Could possibly be an inmate escorted up to that tier. That's what's in their observation log. This again reported now by CBS News. It also appears, according to an FBI memorandum, that reviews by investigators left disparate conclusions by the FBI and those examining the same video from the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General. FBI log describes the fuzzy image as possibly an inmate. I don't know if you know this, but inmates at 1039 are not going around in that area outside of their cell. So FBI, that doesn't make sense. The Inspector General logs it as an officer carrying orange linen or bedding. Okay, we now know, they knew when they wrote that in there, they knew that bedding is delivered the shift before this. So it would have been 5 o'clock in the afternoon before these people were even in. That's when you deliver bedding. No one is allowed on that floor at 10:39. You would have to log in. So delivering bedding? No. The guards say that would have been a breach of protocol, and you would have had to sign something. The final report says approximately 10:39 p.m. an unidentified CO appeared to walk up the L-tier stairway. So we're no longer just an orange shape. This orange shape seems to have legs. And then reappeared within the view of the camera at 10:41 p.m. Official reports state that Epstein died by suicide sometime before 6:30 a.m. when his body was discovered before breakfast, blah, blah, blah. An in-depth video from the jail. CBS News previously reported on the figure on the stairs and consulted independent video analysts who say the movement was more consistent with an inmate or someone wearing an orange prison uniform than a corrections officer. The new records raise more questions about the activity near Epstein's tier late that evening. Official reviews of Epstein's death make no mention of the figure in... Official reviews of Epstein's death make no mention of the figure in orange. And later pronouncements from authorities, including the Attorney General at the time, Bill Barr, were that no one entered Epstein's housing tier the night of his death. Last summer, in an interview on Fox and Friends, then Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino said, quote, "There's video clear as day. He is the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it." Prison employees interviewed by CBS News said escorting an inmate at that hour would have been highly unusual. The identification of the individual could have been crucial to reconstructing the events. You think so? Given that the sighting occurred within the... I warn you, this is about to get worse. The staircase leading to his cell tier was captured by the only camera known to have been recording that night, positioned in a way that partially obscured the approach to Epstein's tier. Government investigators relied heavily on that footage in reconstructing the timeline of the events. But because of the camera's angle, it was not possible to rule out whether somebody could have climbed the stairs and entered the tier without being clearly visible. CBS News analysts of that analysis of that video found additional contradictions between what the video showed and the official statements. I just learned among those interviewed were the two corrections officers assigned to the unit that night. Let me just ask you, what do you know about these guys? All I know about these guys is they fell asleep.
Look, we got basically two options. Either Erica's an alien or Charlie's alive.
We have special guests with us on the live stream right now. It's Jesse Murrow.
How are you, sir?
He is the founder of the popular YouTube channel Jesse on Fire. He covers politics, culture, MMA, UFO. He's got over 500,000 subscribers, and he also co-founded and served as CEO of Major League Fantasy. That's a sports fantasy gaming platform. It's been featured in Forbes Business Journal, Esquire, produced startup series. He's also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a purple belt in regular Jiu-Jitsu.
The purple belt in regular Jiu-Jitsu, black belt on the microphone was that. That's the
is that
reference.
it? Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome to the show, Jesse. Thanks for making time.
Thank you very much. I'm a huge fan. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, yeah, we featured you recently, and I wanted to just get your take on this. We showed this video of you talking about the Candace Owens coverage of the USA Charlie Kirk assassination, and I'll just play a little bit of this.
The people who are attacking Candace fundamentally do not understand what her role in this entire thing is. She is the magnetic center of an open source investigation. She is not supposed to only put pure factual information on her show. She puts clues on her show. She has a tip line getting thousands of tips every single day. She does her best to vet the ones that come in, and then she puts those on her show, and then the community chases them down. It doesn't matter if you don't believe this one or you do believe this one. It's your responsibility to chase down the ones that you do believe, and you look into them, and then you share them with other people, and then they share them with Candace, and then we develop the case that way. We're solving this together. Stop attacking her.
So that was I featured that on the show maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was saying this is the best defense of Candace. And the reason why one of the reasons why I say that, it's a great defense. People have to make that argument. You made it well. about how she's out there chasing leads, and people are like, well, that lead didn't go anywhere. Yeah, that's how you do an investigation, right? So, and you chase every lead, and if it's a dead end, you go to the next lead. But so tell me, you would be considered a Trump supporter. You'd be considered on the right. Why do you feel like why do you feel this way when almost all the other big influential, I would say right-wing social media influencers are trying to say the opposite and call her crazy? People like Tim Pool and Alex Jones and Matt, whatever his name, Walsh. They're all, everybody is cat turd for everybody, but you're not doing that. And so tell me what the thought process is there.
I mean, I tend to not consider myself landing in any specific group or category. And with Candace or any of these guys, it's like, if I feel like someone's opinion is based on a group that they're in or whatever, that I just dismiss it. I didn't even know. I mean, I knew obviously Tim Pool was going at her hard. I knew Alex Jones was, and over the Fort Huachuca, whatever his name is, Mitch guy. Exactly. Probably for different reasons, but Candace, the point I was making is, like, she has a tip line that is constantly bombarded by so many people. And at the end of the day, like, unless you think that Tyler Robinson did it by himself, there's going to be more information out there to go find. And if you have the collective hive mind of the internet to use as a resource, and then you have the additional, great minds that can kind of take pieces and then put them together, and all of them watch Candace. She gets them collected. She sends, here's what I have. They go out and someone's going to put it together, whether it's this case or others. And I just think it's, I don't know. I think it's simple. It's simple-minded to, like, attack a person because a specific clue didn't pan out. And the thing is she's very careful about how she presents the information. Like, when she says a statement of fact, she's almost always talking about how she feels about a thing. She says, I don't believe them. Like, okay, well, she's allowed to believe or not believe whoever she wants, And as this case has panned out, I mean, like, it just keeps getting more and more bizarre. TPUSA keeps on lying. Like, she keeps catching them in lies. And I understand why she's suspicious of them, obviously. And I mean, I think people who are attacking her and then the other side attacking that, it's dumb. It's a waste of time.
And so so to me, do you have a theory on why so many of the people we're talking about, like, what's in it for them to obviously be on the wrong side of this issue? Because, as you just said, you got to be pretty simple to not understand what's going on here, especially since we all know that the FBI is trying to cover this up, which means the Trump administration is trying to cover this up. And so what could, you don't have to name names, but what do you think is possibly in for people doing the simple thing you just described?
I think that it varies from group to group, but I would say that if I'm giving people the most leeway and the biggest benefit of the doubt, I can absolutely see a world where they feel like they're protecting Charlie because Erica's his wife, and she is a pretty heavy linchpin of this entire thing, and she's a big symbol that is driving all the skepticism and the and people being suspicious because her emotional makeup makes absolutely no sense at all. I mean, the last time that I covered, like one of the recordings that Candace played, I was like, look, we got basically two options: either Erica's an alien or Charlie's alive. Like, I don't know how else to read her behavior, because there is no person who can be completely devoid of grief in this situation, just like the rest of these people seem to be. But so that's like, if I'm giving them benefit of the doubt, they feel like they're kind of defending Charlie. The other ways are, some people just really don't like Candace, I've learned. Like, I'm immovable on things. Like, if I like somebody, you're not going to talk me into me not liking them. If someone went after you, you're not going to talk me into it. Someone went after Candace, you're not going to talk me into it. Like, I like who I like. I listen to their shows. If I thought that generally who I choose to put into that category is way less based on their opinions as it is on how I gauge their principles and ethics and whether they believe what they're saying. Like as soon as somebody shares an opinion that I know has some kind of ulterior motive, then that's a huge impact. And everybody that doesn't like her is like, that's exactly what she's doing. I'm like, well, I don't think she is. I disagree. I think she is catching TPUSA in lies, and she can't put together exactly what's going on, but she's just sharing them with you, and she's telling you what she doesn't believe, and she's building a case that way.
The lies are so, blatant, and and they never want to talk about the lies that, just the contradictions of, well, we weren't allowed to fly a drone. Frank Turek saying, no, we were flying a drone. We were looking at him in real time. And so, so that's shocking to me, that how people can just completely ignore that she's catching them in lies. And the fact that they're not upset about the lies coming from the TPUSA crowd, I think is very telling. It's very telling. But what do you make of I have my theory about why TPUSA is engaged in an obvious cover-up and lying. Do you have a theory?
Oh man, I've been back and forth on when I wanted to bring this out and be very straightforward about it. I would just at least let me think about how I want to present this, because
you want to take a break.
I already know that if I put this out absent the supporting video evidence and then just kind of presenting it piece by piece, it's going to sound completely insane. But I have been looking. I'll tell you how I got to my theory, so it'll sound less crazy. So when I saw, obviously, like we said, Erica's behavior makes no sense. It just makes no sense. And so you're left with like psychopath, alien, Charlie's not dead. And I looked at this case in detail. I mean, like I covered every single aspect of this thing. Every time that there was a new clue, I looked into it. Every time there was a new story, I did a story on it. I said what I thought it was. I looked at every single possible thing. And so when I saw the video of her on that, the Amazing Race audition with that guy, and they kind of, they were sharing it maybe week before last, and they're like, look at her. She's saying sex sells. That's not Christian. And I'm like, all right, but what this is to me is I'm getting to see what she's like before this incident, kind of shaped our opinion of her. She seems totally normal. Like she seems totally normal to me, like in those videos. And then I saw the video of her kind of draping herself over Charlie the night that Trump won. And I'm like, man, also seems normal. And Charlie seems to very much trust her, and they seem really close. I can't make this make sense. Then Candace played that recording of her after the memorial, and she's elated. There's no grief, like none. And that's when I started going, dude, is it insane to think it's possible that he could actually be alive and this is a huge publicity stunt? And so at that point, I went and started looking back, and I'm telling you, like, I'm going to put this video out either tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. But every single thing that I've looked at from that day, that I just was going, what is going on? Why are they behaving like this? If you insert publicity stunt, it answers it. Every single one, literally without exception. You got Farnsworth on the wall. They shot Charlie. It's like the least convincing thing I've ever seen. You got Mike McCoy, who just like gets on the phone and starts walking away the second that Charlie gets shot. You've got Charlie getting carried to the truck. There's no blood trail. These guys with the first aid bags walk up and try to help. They're like, nope, we don't need any help from first aid. They carried him. He has a neck wound. That makes no sense. You've got people afterwards who are behaving like there's nothing else. And then there's about 10. You got the security guards over him. They're like smiling at each other while they've got a principal who supposedly just got his head blown off. None of it makes any sense. In Last Patel, who blocks he blocks Tulsi from looking into whether there's foreign intelligence. All of these things are so bizarre by themselves. And then you're like, well, what if it's a publicity stunt? And it literally, every single question that I've had is, it's like, man, I don't know. Because it sounds insane, but I don't know what else to make of all of this stuff except if there's like one solution. Anyway, I'm gonna put it together. I'm not saying that is definitely the case by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know what it is, but that's the first thing that I looked at that answered more than like one question in a vacuum. Is it possible it seems like it would answer a lot of questions, but I don't know. I don't know.
So you're saying that if Charlie's still alive and this whole thing is just a publicity stunt that answers the questions, that's what you're saying?
Like if Charlie juked it, like if Charlie put it all together and it was some kind of publicity stunt, if there were instead, like he faked it, and they did it for, because you'd have to get into motive. That's why I'm going to need like multiple things. Here's the thing. If he's dead, I think it's a leftist. To tell you, like since it happened until about 72 hours ago, I was 100% convinced. I was never movable that it was the leftists. And I just thought there was a much bigger conspiracy around those guys. That would have been like the less make people think I'm insane answer, because that's what I've been convinced of since it happened.
So you think it's plausible that the Tyler Robinson somehow got a gun up on that roof, but even though it wouldn't fit in his backpack, it wouldn't fit down his.
Oh,
and then he got up there and then he somehow assembled it and then set up the shot, took the shot, only needed one. Mm-hmm. And then he had to take the gun apart again, left the screwdriver there, and nobody saw him. Nobody saw him. So that's got to take at least a couple of minutes. A guy with a rifle, a long gun on top of a roof. Nobody saw him. The cops didn't see him. The security didn't see him. Although there was a guy in the crowd, according to Candace, who she's talked to, said he did see, and he's a ballistics expert, and he said that guy never took the shot. This guy he saw. So only guy who saw him. Again, so you don't find that kind of stuff suspicious when you say it had to be a leftist? You mean Tyler Robinson?
Oh, no. I mean, that's what I'm saying is like I feel like I was convinced not necessarily that he did it, but by the number of clues that I found online that showed foreknowledge from groups that were like, I'm not talking about like normal leftists. I'm talking like crazy, like hardcore, whatever those groups are, right. Like I found a person on named Sky Valdez, who was that was a suspect for a short period of time and then kind of just disappeared, that had a painting that they put on their social media, then tried to delete, but we found it on the Wayback Machine from a month before. So it was like August 14th, and it was a guy in a prone position on top of a roof with a rifle, and it had 9/10/2024 on it on their social media, and they tried to delete it. That same person had a song out on they have like the SoundCloud. And one of the names of the song was Charlie Kirk Dead at 31. And it was a month before. So that kind of stuff. I mean, that's why I was so convinced. I'm like, this has to be these guys. And then there were all these reports of 20 to 21 different accounts that were like, wait till you see Charlie get killed on, 9/10 or whatever. You got the guy who asked the last question. And then you got the guy who stands up and cheers in the direction of the shooter. It's like, there's just so much, like clearly the idea that that Tyler Robinson snuck a thing up there, just took the shot and that's it, is absurd, and like it seems like the least plausible thing.
So then
Tyler Robinson by himself. So
I agree with you on I agree with you on the part where you say that's the least plausible thing, but that's the story that TPUSA is sticking to, and that's the story that the FBI and the Trump administration is sticking to. And so they're also not investigating why they paved over the crime scene. Which is unbelievable. Why they lied about talking to a surgeon who said he had a miracle neck. That's what stopped the 30th. So there's obviously a cover-up going. And if it was a lefty that did it, why would they be doing all these things that are blatantly signs of a cover-up happening? Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I don't think it's a lefty anymore.
Okay.
That's what I was saying is like, you start asking those questions, like, why would they pave over that the next day? It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe if it was someone that, powerful enough to do that, and they knew that they juked this thing and they didn't want anybody to get into the thing and see if there's any real blood there, etc. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's either that or like it, maybe it's, if it's a foreign nation, obviously we know who we're talking about. It's like, if it's them, maybe they could get that done, but so
you're saying Israel, or if I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it looks like it was, it's everything.
Why most Canadians live near the U.S. border. Canada is the second largest country in the world, but here's something crazy. 75% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the U.S. border. Why is everyone squeezed into this tiny strip? First, it's the weather. Northern Canada is freezing cold with brutal winters. Southern Canada is much warmer and easier to live in. Second, the land. Most of Northern Canada is rocky, frozen, or covered in forests. The good farmland is all in the south. Third, jobs and trade. Canada's biggest trading partner is the United States. Living near the border makes business easier and creates more opportunities. Fourth, infrastructure. All the roads, cities, hospitals, and schools are already built in the south. Starting fresh up north would cost billions. So even though Canada is massive, only a small southern portion is actually everything.
Oh, you want to play? Sure. Ass over here. Nah, don't touch me. Yeah. Come here. Get your punk ass back. Ain't so funny no more, is it? Huh? It was all hee hee ha ha, right? You ain't going nowhere, bro. You not going nowhere. I got all my hands on you, bro. Feet too. You ain't want to play. Want to play? Get your ass over here. Nah, don't try to run now. Come here. Get your fucking hands back. Shit ain't got nothing to do with you. This shit between me and him. Yeah, I'm stronger than I look. Hey, now give me your damn leg. Come here. Get your punk ass back. Ain't so funny no more, is it? Huh? It was all hee hee ha ha, right? You ain't going nowhere, bro. You not going nowhere. I got all my hands on you, bro. Feet too. You ain't going nowhere, bro. And you gonna give me your damn leg. Give me your leg. I'm gonna eat that motherfucker. Give me that motherfucker. Ah, bitch.
Which continent has the most yet it discovered half the entire world? It sits on the western edge of Europe, stuck to Spain on one side, with the Atlantic Ocean crashing against everything else. It's literally Europe's endpoint, the last land before endless water. And get this, Portugal is tiny, only about the size of Indiana, but Portuguese explorers sailed around the globe and colonized Brazil, parts of Africa, India, and even Asia. Portugal is small with only 10 million people. Lisbon, the capital, sits on 7 hills overlooking the ocean where explorers once departed to find new worlds. Here's where it gets wild. Portugal has the oldest borders in Europe.
Really, nigga. Really. Really, nigga. Yeah. Really, nigga.
They haven't changed since 1297. That's over 700 years of the same shape. They also speak Portuguese, which now has more speakers in Brazil than Portugal itself. They exported their language and culture everywhere. Portugal invented the age of exploration. Vasco da Gama, Magellan, Prince Henry the Navigator, all Portuguese. They gave the world egg tarts, port wine, and cork. Legalized all drugs in 2001. Addiction rates dropped dramatically. Which country should I blow your mind with next?
On December the 22nd, Sam Bankman-Fried was arraigned in federal court in New York City on charges of conspiracy, committing wire
I do want to say, off rip, I'm just putting that Portuguese timeline within this timeline because it's all dealing with fakery, rewritten history, characters being made on site in front of our face. They are rewriting history as we speak right now. Things can change in the blink of an eye. That looks like it just happened over time. The stroke of a pen, bang, bang.
fraud and money laundering. After the FTX scam was uncovered, the scandal brought SBF a loss of billions of dollars, leaving it with nothing but the money it had in its pockets. Or at least, that's what the biggest scammer in history has tried to make believe, as he somehow managed to post a $250 million bail. But where did he get almost $300 million if he lost all his money? Who are his mysterious benefactors? More importantly, are there people who want to shut him up forever? This is the story of the possible link between FTX and Epstein. Before he was accused of committing one of the biggest scams in history, Bankman-Fried was well off financially. As the founder of the world's second largest cryptocurrency exchange, the man behind FTX possessed a fortune of nearly $26
Papah Trail. Let's go, 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 go. Yeah, 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 yeah.
For the love of money, niggas come around. For the love of money, some stay around. For the